All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about the 147-pound division. Jaron Ennis and his team talk about what they want next. Specifically, they talk about why he beats Errol Spence Jr. and the dudes that he thinks he can actually get a fight with next. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division. Jaron Boots Ennis just had a fight this weekend against Custio Clayton. An absolutely devastating knockout, two-round fight. Completely outclassed Custio Clayton and is now the mandatory challenger for Errol Spence Jr. In the post-fight interviews, he had some things to say about Errol Spence Jr. and what he wants to do next. We will talk about that in this video, but before I do, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber, supporter to the channel, thank you so much for your support for the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we release more videos, which we do on a daily basis and have live streams on a daily basis too. I think you'll really enjoy the conversations. All right, man. So look, I said this in the fight ahead in the video I did ahead of the Jaron Ennis Custio Clayton fight, which was on the undercard of the Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano fight, that we are going to have, you know, a potential superstar, but more importantly than superstar, honestly, is an all-time great fighter, a potential all-time great fighter. Now, I know that he's not there yet, but if you look at Jaron Ennis and you see the path that he's on, you look at the skill sets that he has, the skill set that he has, the size that he has, the speed, the defense, all the stuff that he has pretty much what you would expect somebody that could be an all-time great to have at this point in time in his career. The only other guy that I've heard that mentioned about lately by managers and promoters have been Shakur Stevenson, and specifically that is what Andre Ward had to say about Shakur Stevenson, looking at his skill set and being like, look, man, this dude has the potential to be an all-time great. Think the same thing applies to Jaron Ennis, and he pretty much showed it against Custio Clayton, who's a good welterweight, not not a top 5 welterweight, but a good solid welterweight. I think, he may be like maybe a step behind Speedy Rashidi Ellis, right? Maybe a little step behind that type of level, but a good fighter, a very, very good fighter, and somebody that against anybody else would be able to go the distance, maybe give him a little bit of problems. But when he got in the ring with Ennis, it was just a massacre. And that's the only way to, really to describe it, is that it was just a one-sided fight. Jaron Ennis controlled him from the outside with the jab very, very easily. But not only did he control him, he effectively was breaking him down with the jabs to the head, jab to the body. After just a little bit of time, noticed that took advantage of the fact that when Custio Clayton would dip down to his left, he would drop his right hand a little bit, and then as he did it, maybe for the second, third time, Jaron Ennis capitalized, came on an overhand right, boom, right on the target, knocks him out. And anybody out there talking about that was not a real knockout, man, just stop. That was a real knockout. He landed coming down full force on that man, right on the back of it, like right behind the back of the ear, ruined his equilibrium. The man could not get up and defend himself efficiently. They stopped the fight. It was a good stoppage. But after the fight, in the post-fight interview, he was asked about what he thinks is going to happen next. He says that he obviously wants the Errol Spence Jr. fight. And I heard something from his team that I thought was, for the first time, was very, very interesting. He actually said that they believe that Errol Spence Jr. is too small for Jaron Ennis. Now, that is pretty interesting because I've never heard anybody talk about Errol Spence Jr. as a small welterweight, right? Errol Spence Jr. for the most part is bigger than most every welterweight that he's fought. He's legitimately about a 5'9", walks around at about 170 pounds, 175 pounds. That's a big guy to be called too small for somebody at 147 pounds. But that may very well be the case as far as like the dimensions of the fighter. I think Jaron Ennis is listed somewhere around 5'10", so may have an inch and a half on him, may have a couple inch reach on him, but he's very, very long fighter, and a very, very strong fighter at the weight. You can tell that he has, even though, you know, he is somebody that can box and can do a lot of different things, he also has, you know, from what I can see, has one punch knockout power, and he looks like he has one punch knockout power in both hands. So to say that Errol Spence Jr. is too small for him, man, that's really saying something. But I will tell you that I do believe that Jaron Ennis is probably the bigger guy of the two, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that Errol Spence Jr. is too small for him. That style of Errol Spence Jr., he's big. Let me put it as Errol Spence Jr. is big enough, right? However, I don't think that we have to really worry about that fight taking place next. That is something more than likely that they're going to build up to, that Showtime and the PBC are going to be building up to, and they're going to continue to try to build the name of Jaron Ennis with other fights. Now, two fights that his father, Boozy Ennis, said that they would be interested in, and they think, you know, they have a possibility of making happen next, is the Keith Thurman fight or the Imanis Stanionis fight. Now, obviously, Keith Thurman would be the preferable fight for Jaron Ennis. That would be the bigger fight. Former WBA champion at the weight class, former WBC champion at the weight class, unified champion at the weight class. Clearly, you know, one of the top guys in the division. And in order to really get Jaron Ennis, I think a challenge that is going to look like have people engaged in the fight for the length of the fight, he may need to fight a guy like that. But also could fit the bill is Imanis Stanionsis, because that is the other mandatory for Errol Spence Jr. with the WBA belt. But seeing as they are trying to do the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight, and hopefully that gets that made, those two guys, you know, don't have dance partners, and may be a good fight to get made. Now, you know, the funny thing with Jaron Ennis is going to be, though, similar to with Errol Spence, I think you're going to find a lot of people saying, hey, man, I'll fight him, but I'm going to fight him when the getting's good, right? Which means when the money is good and not before that, because to get beaten by, you know, I listened to somebody do a very good show, man. Fouts Boxing Theory. I hope I get this right, man. Does film reviews similar to what Boxing Gym does. Excellent channel, Boxing Gyms too. It said, look, man, there's a lot of people that can think of a better way to make a living than getting beat up by that guy, right? So I think you may have a couple people looking askance at him and trying to go other routes. But if they can get the Stanionsis fight, if they can get the Keith Thurman fight, I think that was going to work. That would work very, very, very well while he's waiting to get a shot at the welterweight title, which is going to come within the next year. But Errol Spence Jr. being too small for him, Terrence Crawford being too small for him, man, look, man, I'm just excited. I can't wait for this guy to hit his stride, to really get that shot, to be the man at 147 pounds. One day and not too long off, the fight with Errol Spence Jr. would be a great fight too, and could really, be, a really big golden era in the welterweight division, 154-pound division. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.